Have you ever been in a room full of people yet felt completely alone? Have you ever smiled politely, made small talk, and nodded at all the right moments, only to walk away exhausted and empty? If you've ever questioned the point of social life, the endless gatherings, surface-level conversations, and the constant pressure to belong, then this message is not only for you, it's about you. Because today, we're pulling back the curtain on a truth most people are too afraid to admit. Intelligent minds often find social life pointless, and no one saw this more clearly than the philosopher of pessimism himself, Arthur Schopenhauer. This is not just about being an introvert. It's not about shyness, awkwardness, or social anxiety. It's about something deeper. A raw realization that the modern social world for the intelligent is more trap than treasure. From the moment we're born, society feeds us a narrative that happiness comes from socializing, that popularity equals value, that the more people you know, the more alive you must be. But here's the question few dare to ask. How much of your social life is actually authentic? How many of your connections are built on truth, and how many are built on fear of being alone? Schopenhauer believed that most people do not think, they react, they perform, they chase approval like moths to a flame, not because they enjoy it, but because they've been conditioned to. We mimic what's around us, we talk like others talk, laugh when they laugh, nod even when we disagree, and we call it belonging. But what we really crave is not connection, it's escape. Escape from ourselves, escape from silence, escape from thought. Because thought is confronting. It forces us to examine our choices, our motivations, our relationships. It makes us realize how much of our behavior is imitation, not authenticity. And authenticity for the intelligent mind is non-negotiable. The further you go in your intellectual journey, the more you begin to question the norms that others accept without resistance. You start to realize that most people don't actually want truth. They want comfort. They don't want freedom. They want familiarity. They don't seek depth. They seek distraction. And for someone who values understanding, clarity, and purpose, this realization is not only isolating, it's revolutionary. Here's the trade nobody talks about. Every time you fake a smile to avoid seeming rude, every time you force a conversation to keep up appearances, every time you silence your truth to fit in, you're paying a price. And the currency? Yourself. You give away tiny pieces of your authenticity until one day, you don't even recognize who you've become. You become a well-liked stranger, to everyone else and to yourself. Schopenhauer saw this clearly. He wrote that the more intelligent a person is, the less they can tolerate the shallowness of social rituals. Because intelligence isn't just the ability to solve problems, it's the ability to see through illusions. And the greatest illusion of all, that social life is meaningful for everyone, it's not. The intelligent person often finds themselves nodding through conversations that hold no depth, smiling through interactions that feel like theater, constantly waiting for a flicker of authenticity in a sea of performance. They feel the tension between their internal world and the external noise, a disconnect that can't be bridged with small talk. Here's the brutal truth. Intelligence isolates, not because smart people are arrogant, but because they see. They see the hidden dynamics in every room. They see the pretenses, the masks, the egos. They hear not just what's said, but what's not said. They notice the manipulation disguised as politeness, the flattery hiding envy, the conformity masquerading as community. And most importantly, they notice how rare honesty is. So they withdraw, not out of hate, but out of exhaustion. Because for the intelligent, solitude is not loneliness, it's liberation. In solitude, there is no need to perform, no pressure to respond, no expectation to conform. There is only space, space to think, create, to reflect, space to be. It's in solitude that the most profound thoughts emerge. Ideas are given time to develop. Emotions are processed without interruption. There is clarity, there is stillness. there is room for truth. But let's not lie, that clarity comes at a cost. To see what others don't see means feeling what others don't feel. You feel disconnected in crowds. You feel like an outsider in your own social circles. You wonder if something's wrong with you. But Schopenhauer reminds us, the burden of awareness is loneliness. Yet that loneliness is also a filter. It removes the noise. It protects your mind. It becomes a sanctuary where you can hear your own thoughts without interruption. Eventually, the pain of not belonging transforms into the power of not needing to. And the moment you stop needing to belong, something remarkable happens. You begin to attract people who value you for your depth, not your compliance. They are few, but they are enough. So what do you do with this realization? Do you become a recluse? Cut off all ties? Retreat into permanent solitude? No, that's not the Schopenhauer way. The goal isn't to reject the world. The goal is to engage with intention. Here's what intelligent people must learn to do. Choose your connections. Not all interaction is equal. Some people drain you, some people elevate you. Learn to feel the difference. Protect your time. Social obligations are a black hole. Decline what doesn't serve you. Don't apologize for valuing your energy. Embrace silence. Most people fear it. Intelligent minds need it. In silence, ideas bloom. Insight grows. You reconnect with yourself. Practice selective vulnerability. You don't owe your inner world to everyone. Share your truth only with those who've earned your trust. Lead with depth. Let your presence make others uncomfortable, not by being rude, but by being real in a world that thrives on the fake. Be purposeful with social presence. When you enter a room, bring stillness. Don't match the chaos. Counter it with calm. Reclaim your attention. What you focus on shapes who you become. Guard your attention like treasure. Because once you stop craving validation, something incredible happens. People become curious about you. They don't understand how you're so composed, so self-assured, so unbothered. And that curiosity, it's the beginning of respect. Here's a secret. When you no longer chase approval, you stop being manipulated by it. You become unreadable, mysterious. A presence that shifts the room, not with words, but with energy. Why? Because nothing is more attractive than a person who doesn't need to be liked. They're not performing, they're not pandering, they're simply themselves. And that kind of authenticity is both rare and irresistible. This is what Schopenhauer meant when he said, "The wise are destined for solitude, not as a punishment, but as a privilege." Solitude sharpens the intellect, it grounds the soul, it builds inner resilience. The world will try to pull you back into the noise. It will whisper, "Don't be different, don't stand out, come back, be normal." But once you've tasted freedom, you'll never trade it for familiarity again. Most people spend their lives trapped in a feedback loop. Post, react, compare, conform, repeat. They confuse attention for love, noise for meaning, distraction for fulfillment. And when the likes stop, when the texts slow down, when the invitations dry up, they panic. Why? Because they've built their identity on externals, but intelligent people build from within. They understand that true confidence isn't loud, it's silent. It doesn't need to prove anything, it just is. And when you reach that level of self-containment, you don't beg for connection. You radiate it. You radiate stability, clarity, strength. And those who are truly ready will be drawn to you, not for your performance, but for your presence. If you're intelligent, here's what you must master. Strategic solitude. Use alone time to sharpen your mind, not isolate your heart. Low exposure, high impact. Be seen less, but when you are, make it count. Selective communication. Speak less often, but with more substance. Emotional independence. Feel deeply, but don't depend on others to regulate your emotions. Silent influence. Influence not through noise, but through presence. Unshakable vision. Know who you are. Know where you're going. Let nothing pull you off course. Because when you stop needing the crowd, you become someone the crowd follows. And not because you ask them to, but because you represent something they've been taught to suppress: freedom. So here's the final question. Are you willing to walk the harder path? Are you ready to feel misunderstood, misjudged, even rejected because you refuse to wear the mask? Can you sit in silence, not as a punishment, but as a power source? Can you resist the temptation to fit in and instead stand out by being fully, unapologetically you? Because this isn't about becoming antisocial, it's about becoming selective. This isn't about rejecting society, it's about seeing through it. This isn't about being cold, it's about being clear. And clarity is a form of power. So if this spoke to you, if any part of this felt like a mirror held up to your mind, then I want you to comment below with one phrase: silence is power. Not for others, not for attention, but as a declaration that you understand. And if you want more ideas like this, more strategy, more insight, subscribe to Echoes of Wisdom, because the world doesn't need more noise, it needs more thinkers, more seekers, more people willing to live unapologetically. See you in the next one.